Happy Sunday. It is hot today. This is Reverend Crystal. I am the executive director of Sister Source Incorporated, which is the first and only nonprofit organization serving Black Unitarian Universalist women, girls, and femmes, and spiritually expansive folk, as I like to say. And I just finished an amazing service, and I wanted to share the service with you too. The first thing you'll do is go back to the song, and the song they sang today is "Let It Be a Dance," and I love that. And there's a beautiful little part in there that says, "Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark, there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sun shine. Let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain." I love that because they picked the music in service today. And my grandfather's church was New Morning Star Baptist Church, which still exists and is led by his son, my uncle. And I am going to talk about that today. And so the opening reading is "Thanks to Flowers" by Kate Farrell. Not only the cultivated ones in parks and gardens unfolding immaculate petals on a terrace or trellis, and not just the wild ones kissed by elegant birds in jungle foliage or brightening roadsides and meadows, blossoming any place that anything can blossom, but thanks also to flowers blooming in paintings on carpets, pottery, fabrics of dresses and draperies, or whatever the real or invented colors and shapes of flowers lift the mood of a scene as they are snipped from bushes, gathered in cordless bunches, tied in ribbons, or arranged in rare bouquets for precious vases. Perfect by nature for gift and centerpiece, they perfume ballrooms, backyards, and prairies. And indoors or out the window, they gladden celebrations and refresh every country and season, for even in the iciest winter, the word flower thrives in every language, adorning whatever says and imagines with the beautiful thought of flowers, which teach by timeless example that life goes by anyway. You might as well flower. That's by Kate Farrell. So, trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about miscarriage today. So, the day after Easter Monday, my family faced a devastating drop-off for my full-on Mother Easter. If you saw, I had the little Bo Peep outfit with the little hat on, right? And Easter Bunny was there, which is my husband in a full Easter Bunny suit that we got from our neighbors. It's a full egg extravaganza hunt. Eggs were in trees yet again. We did it another year. But the drop off, everyone was asleep from utter exhaustion, and I myself had been laying down for some hours because my stomach was hurting. And I was on a heating pad, and I think I was getting up to get some water, and I schlepped my way through the house at 2:30 in the morning. And I found out that I was bleeding. And no less than an hour and 30 minutes later, which it takes an hour to get to the labor and delivery emergency room, so you can tell I got in the car right away, I found myself by myself with two beautiful healthcare workers, a wonderful doctor and a nurse who were accompanying me on a journey of losing my pregnancy at 8 weeks and 5 days. They were so kind. And when I went back on Friday from some complications, they fed me and told me that it would be okay again. And so shout out to them. And I had just done these custom announcements. I made these scratch off tickets for my mom and my aunts, and that I had painted and designed on the computer and laminated. And you can like put paint and make it into a scratch off if you mix paint and soap, just as an aside. And I had done custom announcements, especially for my other aunts who are holy rollers. I had gotten biblical verses and messages about labor. And Bible verses were attached to the notes from Amazon. And my other aunt, I got a candle that says, "Smells like you're going to be an aunt again." I had done a video announcement from to a friend from seminary because I'm a graphic designer, and it had me spinning and revealing a tummy, and I was planning on doing another extravagant video 3 days later for my board of directors, which would have been after my first prenatal appointment. And instead of a video for them, I was sitting with the fact that it was supposed to be this joy and whimsy that I was supposed to be delivering, but I then had to craft an email to my entire mailing list of 1,000 people that I was no longer expecting, which they didn't know I was expecting, because I'm the executive director of a women's organization. And it felt like my duty is just the heaviness hasn't left me. I actually had this shirt on the day before. This heaviness hasn't left me. We were taught in ministry to preach from our scars and not from our wounds. But beloveds, I'm on a mission to take down and break down walls. And so I'm here. I'm Reverend Crystal, Buddhist, agnostic, the daughter of a preacher's daughter, who had been in ministry since I was able to hold a microphone, which I had to hold like this with 2 hands. And a year ago, I was entrusted to lead Sister Source Incorporated by the founder and previous director, Reverend Dr. Kiyama Rahman, who started this organization in 2021. And it's the only nonprofit that is serving Black women and girls. And I'm just a humble little girl myself from Black Baptist Church, doing my very, very best to make my grandfather proud. And although I'm preaching from a mountainside in the shadows of death and oppression, and working from trickling resources like John the Baptist eating wild locusts and honey in the desert, I was just doing my best and rubbing my belly when I found out suddenly it was all over. Yikes. The most difficult part of my grief has been that the overwhelming response has been that people can relate. 1 in 4 pregnancies ends in miscarriage. But I'll tell y'all a little secret. I was one of those statistics that likely, because of first trimester loss like this, was just genetic incompatibilities. I didn't have a connection to the baby in the way I did with my other 3 children. Like, I just kept taking tests the whole time because I just couldn't feel it. There was something the whole time, but a baby never formed. And that was what was happening inside of me. And so I've been in therapy regularly and digging up every root and turning over every rock and pulling up every weed, just trying to understand, what do I feel like I lost? And finally, the other week, I told my therapist, it feels like I'm holding the Olympic torch during, utter cataclysmic turmoil. The heck, guys, what is going on? Like, look, come on. Like, I'm holding this torch during the Olympics, which have been held during so many dark times in history. And I said, I'll hold it. I'll hold it. Hey, Nene, send me, God. Send me. I said, yes. I said, yes. As an agnostic, I said, yes, send me, God. Here I am. And I was holding this torch and this big light. And I was just such a beacon of light for everyone during this time. And I was just walking down the path, and a cloud of rain just came, and then the flame went out. And it's like I'm so far away from all these people in the stands that are watching what I'm doing and who I am and what I'm doing with this mantle. But I'm alongside the people who are about to compete and the people who I'm working to serve. And even though they're like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, I can still hear the whole crowd go, oh. And it's no one's fault that the rain came. But that loss of hope affected everyone. And it was just the rain. It's just the rain, but it's still just such a bummer. Everyone I told before, I'd say, oh, Crystal, I needed this during this time. I needed this joy right now. And oh man, I still had to then hold them in their disappointment when I came back with my news. And that is my sadness. That's it right there. It's my sadness. And it's the same feeling as my absolutely gorgeous 40-year-old cherry blossom trees come out and they're pink. And now, because of global warming and coming out too early, they immediately turned green because of an April and a May frost. Who's ever heard of such a thing? April showers without May flowers? What are we doing? And it's the same feeling as the rest of my yard, which was planted 40 years ago, way before me, living way before me. And I'm living in the middle of a woods. And it's such a blessing during times when people are being dangled with offers they cannot refuse for their land and what's in the earth to build factories. And I'm here, and I've spent every day since April 6th outside in the evening, and I've been rained on. It's been cold, but that dopamine and that fresh air has just given me such purpose to bring this to you. I've been taking time to look simply at what is. And yes, being out there has reminded me of some of my flowers that I'm like, hey, they never bloomed. Now, my son would consider himself a professional gardener at this point, from sprinkling packets of seeds from the dollar store. And he's done extremely well with those black-eyed Susans that love to root. But unfortunately, the rest of it has just never materialized. We're chaos gardeners, they call it. And my neighbors gave me flowers when I moved in, and I was not able to take care of them. And my other neighbors said, just put the bulbs in the ground and they'll come back. And one flower came back, but the other ones have not come back up. And I guess they're waiting for their time to shine. And so the rain gave way to what exactly, if not flowers? Well, our chaos garden gave way to birds eating seeds, probably. Delicious. And those bulbs in the ground will turn into flowers for maybe my grandchildren or my grandpups or whatever I'll have. And my cherry blossom is green, and we do need oxygen after all. And my pregnancy is gone, but I'm still here. And as a Black woman, I'm still here. And as a mother, I'm still here. And as a wife, I'm still here. And in many places, in many times, and maybe a few doors down from me that night, unto another mother, a child was born. She's still here. They are still here. He's still there. We are still here. Yeah. So, I was doom scrolling yesterday, and I saw President Obama, which just makes me so sad at this point. And they were asking him about his updates to the Oval Office, and he was saying that, with a lot of the current state of the world and the morale being low, he hadn't done many updates. And every president is invited to make these updates and make it feel their own, but they do so with reverence and respect, which I miss. And he joked about a bookshelf that he had added some tchotchkes to, little trinkets. And he said, that had 1 million plates on it. And there's already a plate room right off of our office. So he hadn't done much. He left George Washington. And he said, but he also left a picture of, it just looks like an arm in a torch, and you can see it's the Statue of Liberty. And he said from afar, it just looks like, the torch close up of the Statue of Liberty. And he said that Steven Spielberg gave it to Bill Clinton, he thinks. But he said, if you look close up, you can see, if you've never been to the Statue of Liberty, there's a little gate around the top of the flame, just for this purpose, for them to climb up, and the workers are cleaning the flame in the picture. And he said, those men cleaning that flame, cleaning that torch like I was holding, is a reminder that we have to keep renewing the flames of our democracy. Yeah. And I can't help but think about how the Statue of Liberty has been a symbol of freedom for different groups over time. It's even looked different when it was first gifted. which our country would have us believe has been more and more narrow of who it represents the freedom for. But the statue itself has given itself over to the reality that everything changes, growing up or decaying. That's a quote from Nikki Giovanni. Statue of Liberty is green from the same wind and sun and rain that watered my flowers and left them unchanged. Well, maybe unchanged, maybe changed, but unremarkable, right? It's just if we didn't know that Lady Liberty had changed, would we love her more or less? The patina presents us with a question, doesn't it? If we can't learn to fail forward, if we can't learn to love and lose, if we can't learn to lose well, to be present with what is, can we ever truly affect change? If the only outcome of planting seeds must be flowers, can we ever truly build a muscle to endure the rain? What if the deepest that we can hope for is to learn how to dance in the rain together? What if the best we can hope for is to learn how to see each other's tears in the midst of torrential downpour? What if the litmus for grief is how well we community? And what if we learn to love joy divorced from happiness? To love the green divorced from the flowers? To love the rain divorced from the outcome? And as a Buddhist, I must say, and what if beings everywhere were free? Thank you for listening to me talk about this today. Ashe, amen, and may it be so. May you go forth learning to dance under the sun with a waltz through the grief and through the turmoil and through the different times and different seasons that will bring you different questions. And may you find a way to be kind and to love joy. Be well.